talk to you about the left-hand section over here because it's one of those things. I've been so focused on all of the different elements of the synthesizer that like there is stuff that I haven't even touched. Obviously, the sequencer and arpeggiator, and I'm not even sure I will. But the point of the matter is there is an incredible tool just sitting over here. I don't know if you've ever experienced the Matrix Brute, but the Matrix Brute has these 4 innocuous white knobs called the macros, and basically within the matrix on the Matrix Brute, you can assign those knobs to control functions and multiple functions simultaneously, and it's one of the most powerful parts of that synth. And they've really brought it to this, less expensive, smaller synth, and they've not only made it so it's like you have this ability to control multiple functions at once, but they've allowed you to do it with a touch strip, which is like the most fun way to do it, really. So the whole principle is like you have your preset functions the way that you want them, you save the patch, and then you go in and the macros, we're going to talk about those first. The macros are basically at 0. Your knob is at the point that you have saved in the preset. And so then you're actually altering it from the point it is at saved in your preset. Therefore, you are not messing up your preset settings when you use this. So keep that in mind. But it couldn't be easier to use. And okay, let's find, we're going to deviate from the sawtooth here and head off into something more interesting as far as wave shaper's probably good. Okay, so this would be a great opportunity. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to program this first macro to control the wave and the timbre knob. And all those times, if you've watched all these demonstration videos, I've been like, yeah, if you wanted to use the patch panel, you could, voltage control this particular function. It'd be really cool. What I should have been doing that whole time is just so quickly and easily setting it up in the macros, way easier and faster than setting up even in the matrix, which is pretty straightforward. But still, all you have to do is hit the macro, choose the knob you want, turn it to the percent you want, the amount you want, and pow, here, let's do 50 on here so it's a little different. Pow, you have this thing set up. And then you just touch the macro again, and all of a sudden, your first macro is controlling 100% of the wave and 50% of the timbre. So then, all you have... And then you can change these settings, like this one all the way down to 0. And also, you now have an infinite amount of new patches, because wherever you leave this, you can see the LEDs show where you've left it. There's a new patch there because that's where 2 of the settings that you've sent to modulate are currently at, and that could be a completely different timbre than where you were. So not only do you have the ability to do wild modulations, you can also just like have a whole bunch of different patches all ready for you. Really, really useful. I mean, just unimaginably useful from a synthesis standpoint. And of course, we could have added the filter in there, or even like the decay time. I mean, you could just have so many different functions being controlled by a single strip. Also, let's keep in mind it's fun to play with, effects. So you could do something like here. Let's do something with this second one. Shift macros. Okay, now we're going to touch the second one, and we're going to do. Let's go down to delay, and we'll do time. I guess we'll go up to 100, and I guess feedback might be interesting. All right, so pow, now we have this. So you have the ability right now to, just by touching something, change the delay time. Let's turn the time all the way down. And also we're turning up the feedback at the same time. So like down here we have slower, faster time with less feedback. Up here we have longer time with more feedback. So anyway, like, yeah, this becomes this way that it's a performative tool that allows you to make changes in real time to your settings in an expressive way that suits your purposes. And that's really, really cool. For example, if I had a sequence set up, which would be awesome if I did, but I don't, and you had a delay chosen that was synced to the sequencer, you could be doing these changes and the delay would be able to align. Whatever change you made here would align with what your sequencer was doing, which is just another cool thing. This delights me no end. I mean, this is really cool. For me, this almost completely makes this synth. There are so many cool things about it. There's no doubt about it. But being able to create these changes in time together, there have been so many patches that I've been like, well, I'm going to have to figure out a way to voltage control the wave and the timbre knob at the same time because I really like both of those effects together. And you've seen me like holding a chord and trying to turn both knobs at the same time. The macro does this for you, and so you can get sounds like this, which is the kind of thing I love. And so if we made this really have the shape of an actual sound instead of just constant sustain stuff. That is so cool. I can't even believe it. Okay, in addition to the macros, there is the keyboard bend and wheel, and that turns your left touch controller into a bend. Which is cool. And your right controller into the wheel, which you would program up here in the patch panel to control something, which we could theoretically do. Let's just bring it right on over to cutoff. And then we'll turn the cutoff way down. And you have the benefit, I guess this is true of all wheels, but you have the benefit of like putting it in place and then having that setting. Although this is easier than a typical mod wheel. So you have that functionality too, which is really useful. Let's see what happens when you do shift. Vibrato. This is for when you want your wheel to do vibrato too. You can do shift and then touch the keyboard bend wheel. And you have the ability to add vibrato like the mod wheel is often set to. And so you have that functionality as well. Lastly, we have the sequencer and arpeggiator, gate, splice, etc., which we'll cover when we get to sequencing and arpeggiation. But that is the amazing left-hand controller found on the Arturia MiniFreak.